Hey guys, Ashiyama Legends, welcome to the video. We have a first look at the brand new Fragment Summon Fusion coming May 5th. This is Ishiyama the Immovable. So here he is, guys. Ishiyama, he is a legendary HP-based Spirit Affinity champion inside the Shadowkin faction. You know what? We've been asking for a Shadowkin reviver for a long time, and they didn't deliver. They didn't deliver. Instead, we have an HP-based arena nuker here. Before we jump into his kit, let's talk about the official press that Plarium released alongside of this champion, describing who he is, why they added him, and how they intend players to possibly use him. So they say Ishiyama the Immovable is an HP-based damage dealer, with arena being his prime battleground. Despite having a handful of debuffs in his kit, you can totally ignore accuracy in favor of more offensive strats as long as you bring another debuffer champion to your team. And by the way, with Ishiyama, there's no need for the attack stat. His damage will greatly benefit HP and crit damage instead, so make sure to invest in these stats to maximize his damage. Okay, so we have an HP-based damage dealer here, Spirit Affinity, joining the Shadowkin faction. Interesting. What does he do, this arena-focused, HP-based, tanking damage monster? On his Burning Comet A1 ability, he's a 2-time hitter. Each hit transfers a random debuff from this champion to the target. If this champion's under any debuff when attacked, he's going to counterattack with this skill. Okay, so pretty solid. Under a debuff, he'll counterattack with his A1 and transferring a random debuff, which kind of synergizes with the second part of the ability on a 2-time hitter. I like his A1. Calculated Volley, his A2 ability, can be booked down to a 3-turn cooldown. Attacks all enemies. 100% chance when booked of placing a Fear debuff, a decreased crit damage debuff, and a decreased crit rate debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. These debuffs cannot be resisted by enemies who are already under 2 or more debuffs. Okay. So he's an arena nuker with a decreased crit damage and a decreased crit rate. Sure, the fear is fine, but we're obviously living in a polymorph and a stone skin meta as well. Man, does not blow me away at all with that A2. Now, I'm hoping the multipliers are out of this world, but something tells me they're probably not on an HP-based nuker. So a fear, and they can't be resisted by enemies who are already under 2 or more debuffs. Again, given the meta in the arena right now, this feels, I don't know, a little out of touch. You know, he's not an arena specialist just based on, first glance here. Let's look at Finish Them. Finish Them is A3, attacks 1 enemy. So it's a single target, 1-time hitter. Will ignore 25% of the target's defense, 50% of the target's defense instead if they're under 2 or more debuffs. Okay? Place a block damage on this champion for 2 turns if the attack kills an enemy, 3-turn cooldown when booked. The Immovable passive. Whenever an enemy resists a debuff placed by this champion, the next debuff placed by this champion cannot be resisted. Each debuff placed by this champion increases their max HP by 3% up to 30%. Aura, HP in all battles by 28%. Man, this is an easy pass. Easy pass for yours truly. Now, I'm an endgame account. Let's talk glass half full for a moment here, okay? What if you're a mid-game player just struggling to get some solid Shadowkin champions ready for Faction Wars 1.0 or Faction Wars 2.0? Yeah, I guess, especially if you have a gotta collect them all mentality on champions, sure, go for him. He is a fragment summon, which generally, knock on wood, tend to be easier than traditional, fusions in the game. So maybe you just go for him for the heck of it. But man, he seems super underwhelming, especially for an arena nuker. Man, easy skip, I feel like, for most players out there. The shame is Shadowkin could really use some better support, healers, revivers. But instead, they gave us an HP-based nuker who seems to be no better than Magnar. Like, give me Magnar over this dude. Now, honestly, he could smack. He probably does with the Finish Them. But it's not that in the press they say, don't build him with accuracy. Don't worry about the attack stat. Yeah, we know that he's an HP-based nuker. I mean, like, they're a dime a dozen in the game nowadays. We know we don't have to worry about the attack stat. But, yeah, maybe Finish Them does a lot of damage. That could be cool. What I would love to see in a champion like this, though, is an extra turn mechanic on the finish them, right? Because instead of the block damage, which is nice and all, but he is an HP-based damage dealer, he has no built-in fail-safe mechanic to keep him alive, right? Thereby, we can go with something other than Stone Skin on him, so and afford us some extra, protection built into his kit, excuse me. So I would love to see like a Leo-esque type passive or some damage mitigation on his passive or something like that. Instead, he has it built into a conditional kill on his A3 ability. So I'm just not loving this guy. I'm not loving this guy at all. Now, on the A2, to really synergize between this whole accuracy thing that he has going on where, the next debuff placed by this champion cannot be resisted, man, I mean, first of all, do you guys think that trigger... Okay, when an enemy resists a debuff placed by this... So if an enemy resists the fear, does that mean that the decreased crit damage and the decreased crit rate are irresistible? Or just the decreased crit damage? Or none of them? Do they all count as one skill, triggering that passive? I don't know. But what I would love to see is more CC in his kit as well, right? Just something like a stun or something, right? But a decreased crit damage, a decreased crit rate in a fear. Now, again, best case scenario, maybe you can use him in the arena. Maybe for a Faction Wars 2.0, how they're going to have like a little mini trial system built into Faction Wars 2.0, kind of similar, we think, to Chimera. Maybe the decreased crit damage and the decreased crit rate could tick off some of those boxes. He could finish like, what, 1-2 trials in Chimera? I don't think that's enough to justify this dude. I do like his A1. I like that counterattack, but overall, he is a very mediocre, very underwhelming fusion or fragment summon. And again, the shame is we could really use some support in Faction Wars in this faction, Shadowkin. So that's a shame. Anyway, you guys let me know, am I right or am I wrong? Overall, I am not excited about this dude at all. Give me Magnar! Let me know what you think in the comments below, guys. Much love, and as always, take care.